the idea of all about Jewish art stems from the fact that we Jews are known to be the ones that brought the 10 commandments, and the second commandment, as it says in your sheet, is the one in Exodus 23, verse 3, "Thou shalt not make unto thee a graven image, nor any manner of likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." So that takes care of any images, and therefore the Jews were always known as the people of the book and not the people of art, people of the visualization. Lo and behold, in last century, in about the 30s, they found an amazing excavation it was in a time of some skirmishes between Syria and some other people there, and a bomb fell and discovered this amazing synagogue full of pictures that was destroyed in the middle of the 3rd century, meaning that Jews had pictures before Christians did, because next door there was a baptistry of a Christian community there, and there the pictures are much more primitive. So, and churches were only built in the 4th and 5th century. So that Jews were people who used art as part of their education, because people didn't have books, and if you wanted to relate messages, you did it through paintings. And as a result, Jewish art gives us a possibility to open a window and see what our people were like from the 3rd century on. What were they thinking about? What was important to them? Now, so I brought a few examples just to give you samples. The first one, all about Jewish art. You could see there a picture, if you look at the picture of Chagall, of the praying Jews. In the middle, we have a picture of the giving of the Torah in Sarajevo Haggadah, which is an amazing story about the discovery of this Haggadah from the 14th century. Then you could see coins, you could see mosaic floor that we have in Israel that has images. All of this data has been very wonderful for discovering how much Jews did have art and what kind of art. So the next picture over here is from the Sarajevo Haggadah, and it's a second row. Everybody has those sheets? Oh, there is more sheets here. Edka, could you give people? And now the Sarajevo Haggadah here there's some more sheets here. The Sarajevo Haggadah is very unusual because it has the first page of the Haggadah is the story of the creation of the world, which was not to be found in any other Jewish manuscript. Why? Because if you talk about the creation, who is the main actor of this creation? God. And Jews are not going to show God. The Christian in the next picture you could see, if you can make it out, this is a Morgan Bible, which is a Christian manuscript telling about visualizing the creation of the world, and there God appears in each one of the days of creation, because they have no problem showing God, visualizing God. But in Judaism, there was a way to show God, not an image of him, but in this, which it's hard to see, but you'll see it in the PowerPoint, there is like a light that comes and symbolizes the Word of God. So that Jews knew how to visualize things, keeping the prohibition of not making images of God. And the second commandment, the next verse says actually that you should not worship the images. So as long as you don't worship the images, it's okay to have images. And we will see that throughout history, we'll study a manuscript, illuminated Hebrew manuscripts, starting from the 13th, 14th century, that are amazing and show us people, Jews, because if they visualize a story from the Bible, they don't show it as it was in the Bible. They didn't know what biblical time looked like. They show German village or German town as if that's Egypt, etc. And the people really are the people that live in that era, so that we have a chance to look at our forefathers, the way they dressed, the way they were, and what were the things that were important for them to paint and to illustrate. And then we go through from ancient times when in Israel, they discovered all those wonderful synagogues, mosaic floors of the zodiac and things like that, that also lead us to understand why the zodiac was important, because zodiac means the Hebrew calendar. Hebrew calendar is very important. So we will follow from ancient time through Middle Ages, seeing what were life like for the Jews in the different countries. And then we'll come to the time of the emancipation, when Jews could start paint and do art. We know that during the Middle Ages, all the artists were in guilds, and the guilds were Christian. No Jews were allowed to enter a guild, and therefore they did not have training as artists. At the same time, they did want to paint and to illustrate. So they took models from the Christian paintings and they created their own painting, yet trying to insert into the illustration midrashic element and all kinds of things that people will understand that this is the message of the Jewish religion through the painting. And if you look at the two two pictures at the bottom here, one is Moritz Oppenheim, which shows, the picture is called Shabbat Afternoon, which shows a family of Jews. Moritz Oppenheim is considered to be the first Jewish painter because he lived in the 19th century from 1802 till 1892, after the ghetto was abolished and Jews could enter the society, so to speak. But it was very important. Most artists that had that opportunity just left religion and left the Judaism and became Christians. But he became very faithful to the Jewish religion, and it was very important for him to show the life of the Jews during that time. And this picture shows a family, a Jewish family. The grandfather is taking his afternoon shluff, but the grandchild is telling him what they studied in the school, and the two girls are reading a book, which is very interesting. And talk about Shana, what Shana was talking about. Behind them, you could see there was a window, because a window was open for women to also study. So we can see through the paintings, we can learn a great deal about the community. And the last picture is the picture of Chagall, which is called the White Crucifixion. It was done in 1938 as an answer of Chagall to the persecution of the Jews. And he's showing Jesus on the cross wearing a tallis, and who are the real persecuted people? These are the Jews, because Jesus was a Jew, and so he portrays him as a Jewish person that is being persecuted, and all around him is pictures of persecutions that are very disturbing. And I'll end with what he wrote. Chagall himself wrote in 1933, he wrote, "When the painter is a Jew, how can he, when he comes to paint life, not include Jewish elements in his work? But if he is a good painter, the Jewish elements will be there, but he will strive to instill in his art universal meaning." So that kind of meeting between being Jewish and being universal is something we will follow as we go through our course.